Hey y'all, this is Kobe R. Rice here at New Adult Noir, and I am going to do a really quick flash review of Long Night Moon by S.M. Reine. Like most of the books I've read by S.M., at least in the YA genre aspect of her writing, because she writes a lot of really awesome YA, but she also writes a lot of really sexy, dark, gritty, sexy, new adult, and sort of more adult urban fantasy. But in terms of a rip-roaring good time, the Seasons of the Moon series, as well as the most recent book I've read, Long Night Moon, is definitely a great series to dive into if you're sort of looking for an urban fantasy, werewolf, shifter kind of series that is YA and deals with teen sort of issues, but also has like some elements of darkness to it and grittiness to it. On a scale of 1 to 5 on the NOIR-MOMETER, I would actually rate the darkness and the noirness of Long Night Moon probably around a 2.5, which is somewhere between light and scruffy and sundown town. And the reason why I sort of label it as light and scruffy is, there isn't particularly much on the page, graphic, bloodshed. There's not really any sex, although it's very much alluded to, and so we almost get to that point, but it gets interrupted. There's virtually no cursing. I don't remember really any cursing in the novel at all. And even though the situation that is being presented in the novel is dark, basically people are showing up around town dead with like their throats ripped out, there isn't really any indication at any point that we're not going to solve the mystery or come out on some good side of the story. So that's why it got the 2.5 rating. Just as an FYI, it doesn't mean that it was a 2.5 book. It just means that on the scale of 1 to 5 for the NOIR-MOMETER, I'm ranking it at 2.5. In terms of it being a really great read, I would give it 4 out of 5 stars, because generally I didn't find the plot itself to be like on the edge of my seat, super suspenseful per se, because it did kind of proceed along at like a really steady pace, not anything super quick with twists and turns and explosions and stuff. Not saying that that's the only way to make a good plot, but in terms of like building suspense in that way, Reine goes an entirely sort of different direction. She is very much more about like the mystery, the cliffhanger, the figuring out, well, if it wasn't this person who was doing it, then who was it? Dun, dun, dun. And she's really great at sort of leading you on, but also bringing the events of the story along at a really nice pace. So I've always loved her writing. She's an amazing writer. In terms of this novel, the plot progresses pretty nicely, but there's no like sort of major, high octane action, anything really hard hitting, anything like that. The thing that struck me the most about her novel really is just the way she world builds, because if you've read the entire series, or at least started at the beginning, the first book, which is New Moon Summer, I believe, and followed up by All Hallows Moon, the way she builds the world of the werewolves is really amazing. And one thing I've noticed is that she's really great at getting inside of the mind of the human and the werewolf, and allowing those minds to either complement each other or in more cases than not conflict with one another. And she's amazing at that. Even the way that she's developed the character Rylie, Rylie essentially started off as like a vegetarian, and now like obviously being a werewolf, she does not want vegetables at all. Just like little minor details. She does a really great job of providing the contrast and the comparison, but then also the major details. The biggest thing that I loved is that she takes the werewolf transformation and brings you through it, through each level. She shows you how it feels in terms of like the bones changing, in terms of like the skin sprouting fur, in terms of like the fangs coming from the canines and the claws coming from, the human hands and turning into paws. I mean, if Sarah was a werewolf at night, like that would totally make complete sense as to how she's describing the werewolf transformation, because she makes something fantastical and something very fantasy based feel very real, as though like she's actually been through that transformation. And it's just amazing how at home she feels with the details of transformation and the details of becoming a werewolf, and is able to communicate that transformation to us so that we are also living it. I was just so impressed. And each werewolf transformation, generally it's the same things are going on, but she finds different ways to express basically what's happening over and over again. So it demonstrates a really intimate understanding of world building and sort of how she can take a psychological dive into the human mind and the wolf mind. She demonstrates that, but she also demonstrates a really, really, really strong command of wordsmithing. So she's just an amazing writer altogether. This is a really fun book. It's not the darkest book in terms of like new adult noir, NOIR-MOMETER level darkness, but it's still a really great read. It's something I would definitely feel super comfortable, you know, giving to my own daughter when she gets old enough to read her own books, to give her that really fun, awesome, good time, but also to like have those hints of darkness in it. So 4 out of 5 stars for Long Night Moon, 2.5 stars on the NOIR-MOMETER. So if you're interested in picking up oh my god, I totally just got her name wrong. SM Ren's novel, Long Night Moon. Just check the tags below and the buttons below, and you can go find it on Amazon or on other retailers. And I've also put in a little sort of written explanation of the review as well, if you're not really into watching videos. So in any case, pick up the book, and I will see you next time for the next review of our noir new adult awesome novels. I'm not sure which one is going to be next because I have so many novels in my Kindle right now. So the next one that I read will be the next one that I review. But stay tuned and pick up that book. All right. Peace.